What is up, RotoGrinders? 40 minutes nonstop NBA DFS conversation on crunch time, taking you all the way up the lock. It's just a baby slate, the three-gamer. 3 games, 6 teams, 3 teams that very much want to lose. 2 teams that are playing each other that want to lose. It's going to be a big old mess. Sacramento and Memphis. That's the only game not on Peacock tonight. It's a Peacock doubleheader. San Antonio, Detroit could be an awesome basketball game. 2 good teams. Detroit, I believe. Kyle, you tell me. This is your Pistons' best record. Is that right? Best record in the association? Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to your Pistons, and of course, Noto, your Jazz is the other team that's doing their best to lose. If you missed it, they finally stopped with the Nurkic shenanigans. They just gave him a nose and said, "That's it. You got a nose. You cannot play basketball the rest of the season." So he is done. So yeah, two teams facing each other. Sacramento and Memphis should be an absolute disaster. Utah, Houston, expected blowout and a very, very close game, but probably not high scoring necessarily with San Antonio and Detroit. Hit that like button, do subscribe, turn on notifications. What's up there, chat? Say hello. Get your questions prioritized in the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that noise. I don't know if you can hear that noise. That was the noise of my fan tracks today, first day, 30 days until the opening day of baseball. Started a slow draft. We're 3 picks in, boys. Baseball season. Get excited. Pitchers and catchers. World Baseball Classic. All that. Yeah. Baseball. Everybody excited. I'm assuming. No. We're looking at the players we're talking about today. I'm guessing you had the right stuff up in the core plays. You know, we're always happy to do our work. But you're probably looking forward to some baseball, I think. I would imagine so.
The problem is baseball starts and NBA is still going. So it's not like it's like this with some fun stuff added onto it. So, yeah, I'm excited for baseball, but basketball just gets worse and worse as we get closer to the end of the season. But, yeah, is that a beanie, a.k.a. toboggan, that I see on your head?
It is. I was talking to Steve about a pre-show. I need a haircut. My barber is closed on Monday, and I couldn't find a hat. I'm not a big hat person, so I did have a beanie just kind of lurking. I'm like, all right, we'll throw that on. And I asked Steve, I go, does this look ridiculous? I think he kind of gave me the somewhat thumbs up, but it's also the point of no return. It was too late, and my hair was a disaster. So that's this is what we're going with. It's not toque weather, beanie weather. It's like 60 here in Florida. I imagine it is beanie weather where you're at. Noto, confirm.
So it's 60 degrees here as well. I don't know where. I don't know why, but it sounds like Matthew in the chat, 32 inches of snow. That's
whoa. I think Maine got hammered. I don't know where Matthew's at in chat, but I saw Maine was getting pummeled pretty good. Where's 32 inches happening? And what? That seems like a lot. That seems like that's almost 3 feet, I believe, if my math is correct. Kyle, any snow confirmed outside of your door? How are things?
We had a little bit of snow last night, which was really fun because we had like a 2 or 3 day stretch where it was like in between 40 and 50. For 2 or 3 days in a row. So that was nice. So it kind of felt like the sun was coming back for good. And then we got snow the next day. But yeah, I'm seeing talks about 32 inches of snow. And someone who mentioned 32 inches of snow mentioned Jack Hughes Day. Quick note, Jack Hughes from the same hometown as me. So yeah, that was an exciting finish to last night's game or yesterday morning's game.
That image, that photo is just going to live forever with his face all jacked up from I think Sam Bennett was the one. Shout out to the Florida Panthers. I think Sam Bennett was the guy who got him for the double minor. Yeah, awesome photo they're taking. Yeah, shout out to the Hughes brothers. Yeah, hockey coming back soon as well. Obviously, probably about a week or so away. I have not quite checked the schedule, but soon enough we'll get more hockey. The back half, I guess, the back quarter of the hockey season. Chat's telling us, Mr. Relevant, 14 inches of snow in Philly, 24 in Staten Island. Good Lord. And apparently, that's Connecticut. Connecticut got 32 inches of snow. Yeah. How good is that pizza? Is it worth, stepping outside for the 32 inches of snow? I don't know. They say it's the best in Connecticut. All right. Big picture-wise, let's talk about it as far as the slate. We're going to go position by position as well. We're going to answer your questions. Again, questions in the chat. And YouTube, happy to answer those as well, but those are not prioritized. The Discord questions are prioritized. That's rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. It's a free channel. Most of our Discord channels are free. I do want to get like an overall big picture. Again, like it's pretty clear, like 3 teams that want to lose: Sacramento, Memphis, Utah. Utah probably just the tank should take care of itself. We may or may not get George back tonight, which I think is kind of somewhat important. Markkanen's back, but How much are they going to play him is the other question. And again, they might push him a little bit more. I don't know, push him is probably not the right word, but they're probably just going to lose organically. Yeah, they don't necessarily have to hit the tank button when you're in Houston and you are the Jazz. But Noto, general thoughts, big picture, the game that's going to be the closest, San Antonio, Detroit, also the two best studs, arguably Cunningham and Wemby. How you seeing the slate, general big picture, and then we'll go position by position in a second.
Yeah, biggest picture. I saw some questions about Chop. Don't worry, chat. He is not gone. He'll be on tomorrow. He's also in lineup HQ with some tags today, so don't worry about Chop. As far as tonight's NBA slate, yeah, Ty Jerome now doubtful. So we even got more Memphis plays that are going to be opening up. So yeah, love that game, even though both teams are trying to lose. I think there's a lot of good plays from Sacramento, Memphis, and then it's tough to see the Jazz putting up a big fight, but like you mentioned, they can try and still lose. It's not going to take much for them to lose to Houston. And the game I have the least interest in from a DFS perspective is easily the most entertaining one in the Detroit, San Antonio. So I don't know. I'm kind of it's one of those nights where I'm probably making 2 or 3 lineups rather than just one, and I'm kind of mixing and matching the cheap values from the Kings and Memphis game.
Andrew in chat is telling me to start groveling for likes. I don't want to beg. I don't want to grovel. Just hit the like button. Come on. Tap it, caress it, whatever the adjective works for you. But just give us that thumb up. We do appreciate it. Help us beat the old algorithm. What do you want to add, Kyle, as far as the slate big picture 3-gamer? I know, Kyle, you're probably trying to figure out. You probably actually had a plan. I know you're on top of stuff with you know what? It's already been updated. Look at you, Kyle. You're on top of it. You already kicked Jerome out. You knew there was a chance he wasn't going to play. You got a midday downgrade to illness, and they want to lose. So seemed likely he probably wasn't going to play. Not officially out now, doubtful, but come on. He ain't playing. I wonder how many minutes. Well, I guess we'll talk about it. How many more minutes can Pippen play is kind of the question for me, because they don't really push them either. Clayton, I guess, will get the bump. We'll talk about that. But you want to talk about that by all means. But, how you're seeing the slate big picture, we'll go position by position here in a second.
Yeah, don't differ too much from what Noto said. Obviously, I agree. I think the most entertaining game from a sit down and watch perspective is probably the worst one from a DFS value or I guess optimal perspective. But yeah, the Memphis News update. I do think that it's still a situation where, you take the 22 minutes away from Jerome, and I don't think it's 1 or 2 guys getting massive bumps. Obviously, Memphis has been this way over the past month or so, where they're kind of spreading guys out minutes wise. Like we're even seeing guys like Cam Spencer, who at one point in the season were seeing pretty significant minutes. Even his ceiling is not too significant right now. So it's very flat projection across all of these guys. So it was more so just minutes, a couple minutes here and there being passed around to some of these guys. I think the biggest boost from a minutes perspective was probably either Meshack or Spencer, and Meshack I think got like a 3-minute boost there, or maybe 2.5. So yeah, I think bottom line for that news, it's more so going to be where the usage goes rather than where the minutes go. And there are a lot of guys in this lineup who can easily step into some pretty massive usage here. So to Noto's point, I think it makes a lot of sense to maybe play the roulette wheel here on 3, 4, 5 of these guys who could potentially get some big usage guys like Clayton, Jackson, Pippen, Spencer, these guys. So I do think it's a pretty good spot here.
Running some optimal stuff, and I'm getting 3 or 4 Grizz in basically every single lineup. Got to feel great about that for sure. All right, yeah, we'll talk about it as we go, but let's do it. Let's break down it position by position. Let's go DK first. We'll go back and run it back with FanDuel. If anything's different on FanDuel, we got time to knock that out. And again, your questions are prioritized at the end of the show. Noto, specific to point guard, how you feeling about point guard on DraftKings?
Yeah, I love Reed Shepard tonight. He's a guy that loves to shoot threes, and the Jazz do not defend the three-point line whatsoever. They allow let me pull it up, the most three-point attempts per game, and they give up the 4th best three-point percentage per game. So I think it's a great spot for Reed Shepard. Different story over on FanDuel. You don't have the 3-point bonus, and then you also he's much more expensive over there. So more of a DK play for me, but I like him. The Memphis guys are all viable. You got Small, Walter Clayton Jr., and then the more expensive guys, Scottie Pippen, Cam Spencer. I think you can make a case for all of them. I think the more expensive guys in Pippen and Spencer are going to be lower owned, while Small and Clayton just make sense as good values. If you're spending all the way up, Cade Cunningham, he's really the only spend up option other than Amen Thompson. So in a game that, matters for both of these teams, they both want to win. Surprised me today. I was looking at the standings. Detroit with the best record in basketball. I don't check the standings very often. I knew they've been good this season, but pretty impressive what they're doing over there. And then Malik Monk for value. His usage rate's been off the charts recently. If you look at his game log, 27, 22, 26, 32, 31, 33. So he's going to have high usage rate. The minutes are a little volatile and his game log's a little volatile, but I do like the upside that he provides at 4,600.
Kyle, talk to me about point guards and then jump over to shooting guards as well. And I do want to know any rules, if you're like running a bunch of lineups, any sort of rules as far as capping, Clayton, Pippen, you could throw Small in that conversation. Would you limit to a certain number? Are you willing to play both Clayton and Pippen together? I believe they're hitting it. Yeah, they're hitting it hard as far as being pretty popular. So you're going to get that if you're sitting like this, the optimize button. You're going to get those guys together a bunch. But would you put any rules in, or are they cheap enough? They're going to get enough minutes, and the matchup is good enough and it's also the slate small enough where you wouldn't necessarily restrict yourself out of something like that.
Yeah, I don't mind playing those two guys together. I think the group for Memphis I would consider is, maybe trying to just have two of, because I do think also Small and Spencer will probably pop quite a bit. So maybe two of those four with adding Pippen and Clayton into that group. So I think all four of those guys are pretty strong plays. I mean, all of them project pretty well. Spencer's probably the worst one on a projection basis, but we also know that his permanent upside can be pretty significant. So I think all four of those guys are firmly in play as value options. I think if you're looking for a couple of pivots of value options that aren't from Memphis, Reed Shepherd there at 4.7, he could see some blowout run if Houston does in fact do kind of what many are expecting to do, especially in the betting markets, 13.5 point spread. I think he probably played 22 to 23 minutes in a close game. Maybe has some blowout run upside as well. Malik Monk at 4.6 also has some additional upside there with a few guys out for Sacramento, and he's probably not going to be a guy that plays 29, 30 minutes, but again, we know he can get hot from beyond the arc and just scoring in general, so I don't mind him at 4.6. And then the best spend up on the board at the guard position, maybe even the entire slate, Cade Cunningham at 10.5. Not a good matchup for him by any means, but in a close game or an expected close game, you should see a higher minute ceiling for him. So I do like him once again in the spot.
Kyle, is there any path? I know you get a little bit of homerism. Any path to Cunningham getting MVP? I was thinking about betting that about a week ago or so, and I didn't hit it, and his odds got worse or better depending how you want to phrase that.
Yeah.
You think there's any path to him getting MVP?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, right now there's only two guys who are on pace to hit the 65 game count, and that's SGA and Cade Cunningham, and SGA still hasn't returned from an injury. So
yeah,
if there's a spot where maybe he has a setback, maybe he gets banged up again, obviously you don't want to root for that or manifest that by any means, but that is certainly the path, and it's a very realistic one. I think that's kind of why the odds have moved the way they have. Obviously, Cade had that massive 42-point game against the Knicks, so that certainly helps. But this game count that requires guys to play 65 games certainly is the main path right now for Cade, who is at 5.5 to 1 on DraftKings right now for MVP. He was 9.5 to 1 like 2 or 3 days ago. So yeah.
I can't bet it now because I'm annoyed because I had it. I think it was like 11 to 1 or 12 to 1 as I was staring at it for the same reasons. Like, well, maybe he's the last guy standing with 65 games. It's possible, SGA, who knows when he's coming back, and Joker just one more injury, not even a big one necessarily. But okay. How about shooting guard, Kyle? DK specific.
Yeah, a ton of overlap. Obviously all these value guys, all the Memphis guys, Reed Shepherd and Malik Monk, already touched on all of them. All of these guys carry over. There are a couple of guys who I think are too expensive in general, but I think on a slate like this where you do have so much value and a lot of popular value, guys like Dylan Harper, Keldon Johnson, Nick Clifford, these guys are players who don't project all that well at their price point. Same goes for even Stephon Castle and Tari Eason. Don't project all that great, but again, you have a ton of salary to work with, and these are guys who could potentially get you a little bit contrarian. So I would add those guys into the list as well.
No, give me DK shooting guard, DK small forward.
Yeah, so we talked about Shepherd, Clayton, Spencer, and Monk. I think they're the top four for sure. They're going to be soaking up most of the ownership. Kyle mentioned, some of the other guys. I like the Nick Clifford one. And then maybe some Terry Eason and large field stuff. I mean, anytime you get a guy that's projected for 30-plus minutes against the Jazz at low ownership on a 3-game slate, I'll have some interest in that. Moving over to small forward, we have Prosper there. He's been awesome recently, 23-plus in 5 straight games. The minutes have been pretty consistent. We have projected for 27 tonight against the Kings, so it's a good matchup at home. Gigi Jackson's there as well. He's also been playing great. I don't have a strong preference between the two. Kind of just comes down to roster construction. If you need that $900 or not for the savings to get to get a Jackson over Prosper. I like Keegan Murray quite a bit. He's not a high usage guy, but the usage has been up over the last 4 games. Again, Sacramento's missing a bunch of key players, and their best players aren't playing very many minutes in Westbrook and DeRozan. So I like Keegan Murray. I think Kevin Durant's going to be popular because we have a lot of value, so we can spend up somewhere, and he, kind of gives you that high floor ceiling combo. After that, we have Meshack at 3.8. He's had at least 20 in 5 of his last 7 games, so pretty good value there. Looks like his ownership's pretty low too. You're not going to get that on a lot of the Memphis guys tonight. And that's pretty much it for me. I just have a hard time playing anyone on Detroit outside of Cade Cunningham, but Oscar Thompson's somewhat interesting too.
Yeah, it's interesting. I understand why, but like Detroit's like a reliable rotation and we're not getting to it, but like salary and, things of that sort, not the best matchup necessarily, but, we're saving money with Memphis in the hopes that the minutes go our way. I need all the forwards on DK, Kyle, both small and power.
Yeah, I mean, some of these value guys do carry over, but for the most part, Memphis guys, that's the key spot for me from a value perspective. Meshack, I do like here at 3.8 as well. He's probably my favorite Memphis option, but Jalen Wells, Hendricks also in play. Keegan Murray, I agree with Noto there. I did take an under on his props, but I think from a DFS perspective, the minutes and the price all look really strong. And he has been one of those guys who have been a little bit more immune to the randomness that the Kings have been doing so far this season. Jackson and Prosper here in the mid-range for the Memphis guys. Those are probably the top 2 projected players at the 4 position. So those guys are probably going to make a ton of lineups. And then in terms of maybe some contrarian options, Precious Achiuwa, as long as we get the expected starting lineup, he makes some sense there at 4.5 as a contrarian option. Sar Thompson at 5.4. I've been kind of going back and forth on his minutes, starting since last night. We've seen him at times play 24, 25 minutes, but and then in the last couple of games he's played close to 30 minutes. There's a world where I think he plays 31, 32 plus minutes here in a close game because they are going to need his perimeter defending, and as long as he can stay out of foul trouble, they're going to use him pretty often on Fox and Castle, even a guy like Devin Vassell. So I think Thompson could be one of those guys that spikes for maybe more minutes than the field's projecting. That's probably the core group of guys for me.
You mentioned Precious. Like, what do you feel about the Kings players just in general getting rug pulled? And the minutes do suggest that. We're giving DeRozan 27, Westbrook 24. We're giving Precious 23. And you don't know Precious is a guy that gets rug pulled. He's not that good necessarily. He's not somebody they need to develop. Could you just the most likely players on Sacramento to get rug pulled? If you were to rank them, who would they be? I think Russ is one. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would say Russ, then DeRozan, then probably. I mean, I guess rug pull. I think Malik Monk is also a candidate for that. I mean, he was the guy who was out of the rotation a couple weeks ago, so I would probably put him 3, and then maybe Precious. I mean, I do still think that Keegan Murray is susceptible to that. We just haven't seen it yet, so it's harder to maybe count on that. But I mean, he's going to be a franchise guy for them going forward. So if it's a spot where they're just looking to avoid any craziness and obviously play the tanking game, he's a guy that could potentially fall into that category as well. But I will say from an expectation perspective, it's difficult to feel good about guys like Westbrook and DeRozan because they're so expensive. But Precious is 4.5. He's still a guy who can put up, 1 to 1.25 fantasy point per minute. So even if he only plays 19, 20 minutes, he can certainly still get there at 4.5. But yeah, the risk is definitely, there in terms of him starting, but not necessarily getting those starter minutes. I think at this point, you're probably not going to see him confidently project for like 26 plus minutes, but can still get there on a point per dollar scale.
Jim Thomas telling us in chat, apparently it's Monk's hometown right across the river. Was not aware of that, but maybe that's something. I don't know. Who knows if the coaches care about such things? But they're first prioritizing losing, and then maybe let Monk play in front of his family. And then, they're building around Keegan Murray. They paid him like he's one of their feature pieces, and it's 2 games. But since coming back from injury, he's played 32 and 36 minutes. So it could certainly happen. But I feel most confident amongst our start. Well, I guess Renault, I probably feel most confident about, and the field does too. We'll talk about that in a second. Noto, power forward and center on DK.
Yeah, so you have Gigi Jackson here at 5'5", who I like a lot. Şengün's probably going to be popular. He's one of the better spend-up options on the slate. Interested to hear you guys' take on Cunningham versus Şengün tonight as your favorite spend-up option on DraftKings. Then you have Keegan Murray here, Precious here. One guy I really like in tournaments is Taylor Hendricks. He's a guy that he can play 20 minutes and get you 40, and he can play 20 minutes and get you 10. You never really know what to expect, but that's going to keep the ownership down. One of the better matchups that you could ask for. 4.1 is really good price point. So I'm hoping for a ceiling game from him tonight at 4-1. I'm probably not going any deeper at power forward. Then at center, Renault is probably my favorite. I mean, he's been playing well. The minutes have been up. He's played 38 minutes in 2 of the last 4 games. He's been pretty consistent too. You get that good matchup against Memphis, whose front court is either decimated from injuries or, not nearly as good defensively without Jaren Jackson on the team anymore. You can play it for Şengün, Wembanyama. So I'm probably paying up at center. And then you got Hendricks here, Precious here. Probably not going to anyone else there. I'm probably not going to play Jalen Duren. I know he's been, played well the other night in his first game back from injury, but he's just one of those guys that I never seem to get right. And the minutes are never where we want him to be.
I'm not sure why Lippy in chat is talking about Kelly Olynyk, but do not play Kelly Olynyk. I cannot imagine the circumstance where Kelly Olynyk is useful tonight, but something catastrophic happens. But I cannot imagine playing Kelly O. I think we're projecting him, Kyle, maybe for 2 minutes or something like that. Yeah, there's no guarantee he even gets off the bench, but I cannot imagine recommending Kelly O. Renault is perfect, right? Because he's terrible defensively and he's not necessarily helping you win, but he's also really good fantasy-wise. And Memphis has the lover boy, love lady. What was the guy? He was too tall and he played too good. And they said, all right, you got to go, man. You don't know what it's like around here. His 10-day contract ran out. He played too good. And it said, that's it. We're not going to renew you. And now they have Taylor Hendricks, OMP. Who is their center? The inside stuff for Memphis is just absolutely horrendous. Kyle, centers, TK, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, all the things that you said both help. Some of these guys with Prosper and Hendricks, being in spots where they can maybe take advantage of, maybe increase rebounding opportunities, but it also helps Renault because there's not really much resistance there in the paint for the Grizzlies. So all 3 of those guys, obviously, Hendricks and Renault would be the 2 center eligible guys that I like the most. Again, I made kind of the ugly case for Precious. Obviously, it's a risky play, but at 4-5, if you're looking for somebody who's going to be a contrarian option, he is someone that I like. I think my favorite spend up on the board is Wemby tonight. So he's probably somebody that I'm going to try to fit in, but it does make it a little bit more difficult because I do think that obviously Renault and Hendricks are 2 guys that I'm prioritizing. So luckily you can play Hendricks at a forward slot or power forward. So that's helpful, but it does still make it a little bit more difficult. But regardless, Wemby would be my top spend up. Şengün I think is also fine at 9K. I want to see the updated ownership there because I do think that's going to be also an interesting game theory perspective between all the 2 top Houston guys and then Cade Cunningham and Wemby. So, but right now I'm going with Wemby.
Yeah, Noto asked Cunningham versus Şengün. I would lead Cunningham amongst those 2. I just think the game environment, I know it's going to be tougher defensively, but I just feel more confident in Cunningham getting more run. By the way, nobody on the front end, nobody on the back end. These are all island games for every single team for what it's worth. Have you figured out, or have you considered, Kyle, you're talking about Wemby, running Wemby at Cunningham, just building a lineup around that? Is that something you're trying to figure out if you can make that work?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's definitely a good strategy, especially considering, if that game does stay close and competitive, you can maybe see 32, 33 minutes for Wemby and 36, 37 for Cade. So those guys would correlate pretty well from a minutes perspective if the game stays close.
If you lock those two, you get Reynaud and 5 Grizzlies. I mean, that's my type of lineup right there.
Yeah.
Until the Memphis game starts and like Rupert gets like 35 minutes or something like that. But yeah, I think that's a really interesting build too. I do like that game environment just because I feel pretty confident in the minutes, if nothing else. All right. Let's give the people the plums now. Let's give them time to react to the plums. Noto, plum play of the night is who?
Taylor Hendricks could get you 10, could get you 40. I just think, man, especially with Lovering not there, he's going to get more minutes and love the matchup against Sacramento.
Kyle, plum play?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be all that unowned, I suppose, but I do think that Jalen Wells is a guy that I like quite a bit. 4.8 on DraftKings, small forward option. I think he's one of those guys who can really benefit from the lack of size that Memphis has, and we could maybe see 5, 6, 7 rebound performance from him. So also don't mind him in the prop markets there. So I will go with Jalen Wells.
Noto, was Wells one of those 5 Grizzlies? Have you made that lineup?
Let me see.
Or yet? Probably, possibly, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. And Hendricks.
Give me this before we jump and talk about FanDuel, whatever, clean up whatever is different over there. But bold fade, I know, at least I know Noto, you tend to make just one lineup only. You can't get everything you want. You got to make some tough cuts. Who is the player, and I know this is from like the expert survey as well, who's the player you're like most afraid of not having on your main lineup that's just going to beat you?
DraftKings gets Kevin Durant.
Yeah. You got that, Kyle? I don't know how many lineups you're running out there today, but theoretically you're running one, or on who you're going to be under the field on that you're concerned about.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Durant, I think I would maybe even a little bit more concerned about Şengün just because I think he might be a little bit more popular, but I think both of those Houston guys are kind of the same line of thought there where, maybe if that game stays closer than people are thinking and maybe they play a few more minutes. But I do think there's a lot of downside to those guys' minutes right now, and I think I just prefer other options in terms of allocating the top end salary.
We'll go through this quicker, but anything different on FanDuel? I'm going to have Kyle starts. Kyle, point guard on FanDuel. Anything you want to point out that's distinctly different? Anything you want to stress over there?
Walter Clayton's a little bit cheaper, so I do like him quite a bit at 4.2. He's a guy who you would probably like to roster more on DraftKings because if he gets hot from 3, you have that added 3-point bonus. But nonetheless, the cheaper price tag. I guess that's the one thing I would note. But for the most part, same top options. I think maybe I'm gonna see some more De'Aaron Fox on FanDuel than on DraftKings at 7.1. But Walter Clayton's the big difference there.
All the guards on FanDuel, Nito?
Yeah, so for me, the only difference, I don't think Reed Shepherd's viable over on FanDuel. And then, like I mentioned, I think Walter Clayton's even better value over here. But yeah, I still like Cade Cunningham. Even though he's expensive, I still think you can get to him pretty easily. Javon Small, Monk, all those guys. Scottie Pippen's projecting a lot better now, so be interesting to see how many minutes he gets.
Where did we get him? He's 23 minutes. Yeah, because he's been limited. Him and Jerome kind of bouncing back and forth. Now Jerome's gone. We're assuming he's gone. He's officially doubtful. Is there a world he can go beyond that, Kyle? 23 minutes, or that's basically his cap?
There's certainly a world where he does. I think from a media and projection perspective, though, it was just difficult to go much higher than that. I think I did consider him at like 24 and a half at one point, but yeah, there's just so many guys that they can spread these minutes around to. Because we're talking about all these guys that they have nobody that can actually play, a true center position. That's because they have so many guys who can play, guard or wing type options. So, I think there's just a lot of risk for lack of ceiling for all these guys in Memphis, and then Pippen especially, who missed so much time this year.
4 games all season. The most he's played is 22, between 18 and 22 in those 4 games. It's just tough. He's been good, but he's only going to play, like you say, at most probably 25, 26, and that's really, really begging. You're probably going to get around 22, 23 as you have it projected. Shooting guard, Kyle, and small forward on FanDuel.
Yeah, and I think you can also pull a lot of potential sample from the way that they handled Ty Jerome for those handful of games, maybe just shy of a dozen games, like 20, 22 minutes, and that was pretty much it. It looks like I would assume that they're going to do the same thing for Scottie Pippen, but you said small forward or shooting guard?
Both.
Okay. I think the two guys that stand out as maybe projecting a little bit better on FanDuel rather than DraftKings, Tari Eason just $6K on FanDuel, like that price over there. Devin Vassell at 4.8. I don't think he's a phenomenal play, but he's one of those guys that, maybe you're overpaying a little bit just to get, a little bit more contrarian. So that's probably the main difference there at small forward. Shooting guard, Malik Monk at 4.7 is maybe a little bit better of an option over there. Probably prefer him over Vassell, but they're about the same price. And then Scottie Pippen is also one of my favorite plays there.
Noto, FanDuel, all the forwards.
Yeah, they're pretty much a lot of Memphis and Sacramento guys like Prosper, Keegan Murray, Gigi Jackson, Hendricks once again. He's going to be a little bit lower owned on FanDuel because he is 4.4. So I like him in tournaments. And then I am more interested in Durant on FanDuel just because he's 8.8. We have a lot of value. And then at power forward, you can go with Şengün too. Feels like one of these guys are going to play well, but I don't know if Utah is going to keep the game close enough for them to both play well. So yeah, I'm having a hard time with them. And then as always on FanDuel, Wemby is going to be lower owned because he's so expensive.
Yeah, but he's got bigger ceiling if he gets going from a stocks perspective. We know what's going to happen, but you get the extra point. Power forward center, Murray. What do you got as far as on FanDuel?
Yeah, a lot of the same guys. I think not too much difference. I think Reynaud is the primary focus for me at the center position. Wemby's a little bit more expensive compared to some other guys, so maybe that shifts a little bit of the dynamic there. But pretty much all these guys except for Reynaud and Duren are also power forward eligible, so it gets pretty easy to fit these guys in. I guess the one guy I didn't really touch on FanDuel, Precious. That's because I don't really like him on FanDuel. But again, he's going to be probably sub 10% pretty easily over there, but probably not considering him as much as in a tournament setting on FanDuel compared to DraftKings.
Noto, what do you want to mention as far as centers, FanDuel?
So let me pull it up. Yeah, it's just Reynaud for me in my main lineup, and then you can mix in Prosper and Şengün, but it's just Reynaud for me.
We got the starting lineups for San Antonio, Detroit. Nothing goofy, nothing weird, as expected. Going to be hitting up the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord live stream chat channel. Questions from here. Jim Parrish, question for Kyle. Thoughts on Jalen Wells? Scottie Pippen has him for 20 minutes. Well, I think it's just asking about Wells in relation to Pippen. How do you feel about Wells tonight, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, Wells isn't like a super sexy play, but I think the reason why I do like him is because I think a lot of, I would say probably 4 or 5 other options on Memphis are going to be more popular throughout the industry. So that's the main reason for liking Wells, because he's still going to be a guy who could have the second or third highest usage on the team. And I do think also we could see a nice rebound spike game there for him. So that's probably the thesis there. Don Easy's asking for a ladder. Jalen Wells rebounds would probably be my ladder. I know that was a play that was popping in Pick Labs early this morning as well. So maybe not like an official play for me, but if you're looking to sweat some long shot option, I would probably be looking at something either with Scottie Pippen points or Jalen Wells rebounds.
Noto Rob G wants to know if you can rank the Memphis guards. Single entry tournaments rank Pippen, Clayton, and Small. How would you rank those 3?
I'm going to go Small, Clayton, and then Pippen.
Single entry GPP, Kyle, who are you spending up for, Cade or Wemby?
I think overall I'm going to go Cade. I do like Wemby at the center position, but overall I'll take Cade.
No, D-Rock wants to know, DK tournaments in a 3 max, would you rather have 2 Shepherd and no Pippen or 1 of each?
Probably 1 of each.
All right, let's see. Noto for FanDuel. Falcor is asking thoughts on playing Cunningham and Wemby in the same lineup. 2-3 Houston. 2-3 Houston, Thomas, Katie, and Şengün. Oh, versus. Okay. So it's Cunningham and Wemby as one sort of like main build, or a Amen Thompson, Houston Thompson, Katie, Şengün as the other build. Which build do you prefer as a starting point?
I don't have enough faith in the Jazz to roll out 3 Rockets, and we've talked about liking the Cunningham Wemby pairing, so I'm going to go with that.
Kyle Allen's club, DK, single entry, Prosper or Wells?
I'll take Wells.
I'm jumping over to YouTube. I'm not going to scroll up just yet. I'm looking for the most recent of questions. Naja Boy's asking for Noto, Pippen or small DK single entry tournaments, Pippen or small?
I like small, but obviously everyone on Memphis is viable.
Lippy's saying Westbrook. Question as far as Westbrook, Kyle. It doesn't sound like we're very confident he plays enough minutes.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of risk there. I mean, you could always make the case that you're spending up a little bit compared to the minutes projection, but he can still have a solid game in like 22 or 23 minutes. But yeah, the risk is, I think, magnified because he's still 7-2 on DraftKings. So prefer to spend my money elsewhere. But if you're looking for a dart tournament play, I don't hate it.
Question on screen, Stephen, for Noto, 2v2, Eason and Reed or Shepard and Renault, DK tournaments. Shepard, Renault, Eason, Reed.
Reed, who? Reed Shepard?
Paul Reed?
Paul Reed, maybe? Or maybe it's for Shepard.
I like the second one then.
Eatery Edge, Kyle, Eatery Edge, pick one of these three, Pippen, Prosper, or Monk.
Pippen.
We didn't really talk about Fox a heck of a lot. General thoughts on Fox, Noto?
Not really on my radar. It's just hard for me to see him being efficient in this matchup, and he's kind of expensive.
Kyle's Clayton wants to not Clayton. Clayton's in the question. CW wants to know Pippen or Clayton if price does not matter.
If price doesn't matter and you're looking to get someone who's a little bit more contrarian, I do think Pippen will be less popular. So I would take Pippen from a game theory perspective, but I do think Clayton projects better point per dollar wise. But give me Pippen in that answer.
No, fun question for you. We major Barnes, Harry Barnes, or Champagne last in FanDuel tournaments. You got to pick one of those two. Who do you prefer?
I mean, Barnes and tournaments just don't go together for me. So Champagne.
Skrit in the YouTube wants to know. This is for Kyle. Thoughts on low-owned Sensabaugh on FanDuel to be different? Is that a terrible idea? How do you feel about Sensabaugh in tournaments to be different?
I mean, I don't hate it, but he's pretty priced up on DraftKings, probably from that 2 or 3 week span where we were without George and Markkanen for quite a stretch there. So I think I just prefer other plays, but he's going to probably play 23 to 25 minutes, and he certainly can get it done in that time, but I prefer other options.
Let's see. He's 5'9" on DK. He's 5'2" on FanDuel. So if you're going to play him, you're better off playing him on FanDuel. So I would give that, but still not necessarily an endorsement. We have 2 minutes or so until lock. Allen's Club for Noto, Monk or Shepard DK tournaments.
I have Shepard tagged, so that's what I'm doing. And I actually added Shepard to my Wemby Cunningham lineup and then got Renault and 4 Grizzlies. That's what I'm rolling out.
I like that. So you're playing the angle of basically none of the Houston studs get there because the game blows out, and then maybe Shepard's the last guy off the court amongst meaningful plays. Is that? That's
or he just catches fire in a good matchup.
Yeah.
Either way works for me.
Certainly that could happen. I don't know if I missed any questions. My apologies if I did. I did my best to kind of scroll through. We have like a minute or two until lock. Okay, Cleveland Picker wants to know, Kyle, Duncan Robinson or Champagne?
Duncan Robinson.
How much do you guys think it is to get in the building tonight in Memphis, according to ESPN? Take a guess. Tickets as low as how much? What are you saying? $2.50. This is before I assume they hit you with like a surcharge and all that. What do you got? No, $2.50. You gonna go $1 on me? You gonna go Price is Right or $2.50?
I don't know. It's got to be double digit. I'll go $10.
$4. $4 according to the ESPN link to get into the building in Memphis. By the way, $167 is the cheapest ticket in Detroit. There must be going crazy in Detroit there, Kyle. $167.
Don't get me started on that, man. I tried to get tickets to a Wings game in like a week or so, and it's like $200 to like not be in the rafters. It's crazy. LCA is a new arena, so they're trying to hike the price up a little bit, but it's getting to be dramatic there.
That's the Little Caesars arena. Are the Wings even good this year? I feel like they're not that good this year. Am I wrong to say that they're kind of the middle of the pack?
I think they're like top 5 in the conference. So
okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Pretty good, yeah.
Let's see. Any more questions here? Jumping in chat. I don't think. Oh, by the way, How many games have the Kings lost in a row? Another. I did this in the last show last week, and it still hasn't changed. The Kings, more recently, the Denver Broncos won a football game before. More recently than the Kings won a basketball game. Remember the Broncos? You guys remember them, right?
I've heard of them.
Yeah, that's how long it's been since the Kings have won a basketball game. I think it's 16 in a row. I want to say.
Yeah, I wrote that in today's core plays. Yeah, 16.
They are lapping the field in the tankathon. It is really, they're doing impressive work. You gotta tip the cap or tip the the beanie or whatever you have on top of your head. Oh, I should mention, you guys mentioned Pick Labs, and Kyle, I think if we got 100 likes, maybe by the end of this read, maybe give one of your plays out, because the game hasn't officially started just yet. I think I did see you writing up a couple plays, so we get to 100 likes, we'll give out one of your picks on Scores and Odds today. Do want to shout out Pick Labs, the newest RotoGrinders feature. It gets you, the best player props and pick'ems in just seconds. Everything is broken down for you. Edges, win rate, value. It's a clean board. It is dummy proof. I can figure it out. You can figure it out. The clean board is going to show the plays that actually stand out across not just sports books, but also places like Underdog and Prize Picks. You see something you like, Pick Labs is going to build the slip, send it straight to the book of your choice. Do check this out. RotoGrinders.com/PickLabs. RotoGrinders.com/PickLabs. We did get to 100. We'll get Kyle's pick in a second, but I do also want to tell you about NASCAR projections. They're officially live. We've had a couple of races now. 2026 season. It is happening. Projections from RotoDoc and Stevie as well. You'll get access to articles and videos on RotoGrinders breaking down every race. The lineup HQ optimizer, it's going to come preloaded with player projections, player and ownership projections, not just for trucks, but for NOA PS, as well as the Cup Series. Additionally, you'll receive access to Stevie's betting picks, as well as exclusive access to the NASCAR channel in the RotoGrinders Discord. I did mention most of the Discord channels are free. That is one you got to be part of the package. So if you want to get in that RotoGrinders NASCAR Discord, you got to get a piece of the RotoGrinders package. All right, Kyle, we did hit to 100 likes. Shout out to the chat. I did promise them. I saw you wrote some stuff up on Scores and Odds. Give them a winner. Give the people a winner tonight. Yeah,
I think the pick that's probably closest to the same line is Asar Thompson under 22.5 points and assists. Like that one quite a bit. That one projected well in my model and in our shot quality model. So that was a double winner there for me. And then also like Kyle Filipowski over 14.5 points and assists. So I'll give those two out.
Do appreciate y'all watching. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on notifications. We'll be back tomorrow. I presume normal time, 5 o'clock on the East Coast, because it is it's an uneven schedule this week. I think it's like 11 games or so. I'm not sure if we're all going to be part of the main slate, but lots of games tomorrow. That was Notorious. That was Kyle. That was producer Steve. I was Dean. Thanks for watching. We're out of here. Holler. Have an A1 day.